people, my name is Angelero from the World of Games channel, and I'm going to talk to you about the OpenTest 5.1 for World of Tanks Blitz. First of all, I have to say that the OpenTest 5.1 doesn't apply to the update 5.1 we are getting in a few days. Even more, Wargaming already told us that these balances in the tag trees and such are set to go live with update 5.3, so we still have time to change their minds. And why should we change their minds? Well, I'm going to tell you in the following of this video. First of all, let me tell you why Wargaming wants to make these tag tree changes. The reason is actually simple, and I can find myself in that completely. Wargaming wants to make it easier for new players to get into the game. They also want to make sure that those new players are going to stick to the game and not run away pretty fast because of the complexity of the tag tree or the seal clubbing adventures of the veteran players. One of those changes that Wargaming already made and which we will get in update 5.1 on the 31st of July are the changes in consumables and provisions, not the equipment slots of which people spoke first. According to our information, Wargaming is not going to touch the 9 equipment slots. Instead, they are going to lower the usable consumables and provisions on the lower tier tanks. Let me explain a bit more. For vehicles of tier 1 and 2, only one consumable slot is unlocked. Only multi-purpose restoration pack is available. For vehicles of tier 3, 2 consumable slots are unlocked. The player can install multi-purpose restoration pack and engine power boost. Not only changes for consumables and provisions are at the order, also some of the game features will be unavailable to tier 1 to 5 vehicles by default. And that is why I can tell you that tier 3 vehicles also give access to missions and daily bonus containers, which are not available for tier 1 and 2 vehicles. As soon as vehicle of tier 4 or above appears in the player's garage, 3 consumable slots get unlocked. Also, 1 provision slot becomes available. The player can install standard fuel or national rations. On top of that, the player gets access to the game chat and storage. By the way, an alternative way to unlock access to the storage is getting containers or boosters or event currencies, certificates or certificate parts. Another way to get access to the game chat is receiving a friend request or a platoon invite. Now then, tier 5 vehicles. As soon as a vehicle of tier 5 or above appears in the player's garage, 2 provision slots get unlocked. The player can install standard fuel, protective kit or national rations. The player gets access to the appearance tab. As soon as this tab becomes available, the player can apply camouflages and attachments to vehicles of any tier. And then we still have the tier 6 vehicles. As soon as a tier 6 vehicle or above appears in the player's garage, 3 provision slots get unlocked. And last but not least, there is an important message about all of these changes. Players who have previously installed consumables or provisions, which will become unavailable after the release of update 5.1, will get 100% compensation in credits. On top of these previously discussed changes, in update 5.1 we also get an improved matchmaker. Starting from update 5.1, no more than 3 vehicles of the same type per team are allowed in regular battles. The number of vehicles of the same type in different teams is calculated based on the plus-minus-1 principle. For example, if there are 2 medium tanks in one team, then there will be from 1 to 3 medium tanks in the other team. So, these are all the changes we will definitely get in update 5.1. But what does the OpenTest server show us more? Well, still some changes Wargaming wants to implement in order to make the game easier for new players, just like I said in the beginning of this video. But before I go any further, I have to say that I do not find myself in these next changes. If, and I say if because nothing is set yet, these changes go live, Wargaming will definitely destroy the atmosphere the game is in right now. If we go look to the German tech tree, we can see that a lot of tanks disappeared from the standard tree. Did all these vehicles disappear from the game? Hell no. Wargaming wants to implement them as premium vehicles. In other words, Wargaming is simplifying the standard tech tree, but at the same time they are making it even more difficult in the premium tech tree. And it's not only the German tech tree. No, this is what Wargaming wants to do for every freaking nation. Here you can see the changes for the USSR or the Soviet nation. And these are the changes for the UK or England. And this is Japan, China. China doesn't have premium vehicles, and here we have France. But that's not all. Wargaming is also going to buff and nerf some vehicles, especially nerfing, and change the tiers of some of them. So this vehicle goes up one tier from 5 to 6. The rate of fire got buffed, so currently the rate of fire is 7.06 and the rate of fire goes to 10.79. But the average penetration, we have the armor piercing, so AP shells will be 135, for the moment it's 115. APCR goes to 185 and comes from 165, and HE stays at 20. So the vehicle gets buffed a bit, but it's only normal because it goes up one tier. But what does not get buffed is the armor. The armor stays at 25 millimeters at the front, 25 at the sides, and 19 at the rear. That's exactly the same as the vehicle currently at tier 5. Also, the turret armor stays the same at 38 at the front, 25 at the sides, and 25 at the rear. And the average damage it deals stays at 160. Now, let's have a look at the DW2 that goes from a standard vehicle to a premium vehicle. Here we can already see that the rate of fire goes from currently 7.06 rounds per minute to 5.01 rounds per minute. Come on, for God's sakes. The penetration value stays the same, but the damage this vehicle deals is going to get nerfed drastically. It goes from 160 for AP shells to 120. And APCR goes from 135 to 105. HE shell stays the same at 200 HP damage. And this is certainly not the only vehicle that Wargaming is going to nerf. Let's look at the next one. This is the Panzer IV Aus D. This one, his hit points goes from 560 to only 500. But the whole armor goes up. It comes from 30 at the front, 20 at the sides, 20 at the back, and it goes to 50 at the front, 40 at the sides, and 40 at the rear. But what about the guns? Let's have a look. First of all, this baby comes from 4 guns and goes to 2 guns, only 2 guns, and the top gun gets significantly nerfed. Look at the rate of fire. It comes from 6.52 and it goes to 5.59. That's 1 round per minute less in this beautiful, actually my beloved tier 4 tank. While the penetration value stays the same, let's have a look at the damage that gun deals. That also gets significantly nerfed. For AP shells, it goes from 160 to 120. For APCR shells, it goes from 135 to 105. Come on! What the hell is going on here, Wargaming? But that's not all. Let's have a look at the premium tank, the Kaniotsu. And Wargaming stated before that they are not nerfing premium tanks. Well, let's have a look. The Kaniotsu. Currently, this vehicle has, let's have a look, 4 shells in the magazine, and it goes to 2 shells. The reload time for a complete magazine goes to 6 seconds. 6 seconds! That's double the amount of the reload time right now. It's only 3 seconds. And further than that, the AP shells will only do 30 HP of damage instead of the 40 HP that we have right now. So you guys can probably predict, just like I do, how a lot of people are going to react when Wargaming would go through with these changes. You don't have to be an Einstein to know that a lot of players are going to be angry, and with well-founded reason. Now, the only upside we are having here is that this is all data from the test server, meaning that all these changes are not set yet. This gives us, the community, the chance to make Wargaming change their minds. One other thing, don't be upset with what I'm telling here, I'm only the messenger. Also, don't be upset with community contributors or Wargaming employees on the forums, because also those people can't do anything about this. The only people who can change these things are the masterminds behind it and or the developers. So, please let us all digest this and talk about it on the official channels and try to make Wargaming change their minds. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you all next time.